Hi, this is Dr. Howard Rosenthal, and in this exciting program, I'm going to share 7 simple strategies to stop test anxiety in its tracks, and I'll reveal the mystery of what you are looking at in the thumbnail. You know I don't like to waste your valuable time, so let's get started. Strategy 1. First, let's begin with some good, make that great news. We have known since 1908 that a little bit of anxiety raises, not lowers, your score. Really, Dr. R? Yes, really. It's known as the Yerkes-Dodson Law. Now, while a little bit of anxiety is good, trust me when I say a lot ain't necessarily better and, in fact, could easily tank your score. But again, according to this time-honored principle, you don't want to eliminate every ounce of anxiety and nervousness. Balance is the key here. Strategy 2. Better preparation means less anxiety, and most counselors have more anxiety than they will ever need. Thus, you need to know that short, repeated study sessions work better than long marathon exam prep sessions, or, to put it in plain everyday English, that fantasy of yours about camping out in the counseling library and pulling an all-nighter armed with a humongous bag of chips, or for me it would be a giant bag of cheese popcorn, and a 6-pack of Red Bulls is not conducive to good learning. And yes, indeed, there is research to back me up on this. The technical name for this issue is massed versus distributed practice. Now, the distributed practice is short but frequent sessions, and that's usually the winner. Distributed practice is more conducive to long-term memory. Just recently, one of my faithful readers sent me an email and said he was trying to learn 300 questions per night out of my Encyclopedia of Counseling. What? On paper, this looks great and very heroic. But as far as retention, aka remembering the material, I'm just saying I wouldn't bet the farm on it. Strategy 3. What you do prior to the exam can be very important. You should never be running late. Now, just think about this one. Have you ever been running late to an event? It could be anything. One of your counseling classes, a birthday party, your own wedding, a meeting with your supervisor, you name it. How did you feel? I can safely say most people felt very anxious. Therefore, if you don't know where the exam site is located, try to drive there a few days prior to the exam, or at least the evening before the exam, actually. And for those of you who are taking the exam at home, consider this stellar example of what not to do. Recently, a counselor told me he was super anxious when he took the exam. I probed further and discovered he was cutting his lawn in 100-degree heat, trying to finish the job ASAP, sweating profusely, and keeping an eye on his cell phone to check the time. Seriously, Who among us would not be terribly stressed out? He finished just minutes before the exam began, and quite frankly, he said he was an emotional mess. His words, not mine. Gee, there's a surprise. Strategy 4. This is not the time to test a new anti-anxiety remedy, and I don't care if it's prescribed by your doctor or your favorite YouTube natural nutritional biohacker. Now, stay with me here. I'm not telling you not to take it or disobey your physician's orders. What I am saying is don't try it for the first time a few days before, or worse yet, the night before or the day of the exam. Why? Simple. You might have a terrible reaction to the medicine or the supplement. Test the waters, so to speak, way before the big day. A case in point, a lot of us have had this experience. You see a prescription drug or nutritional supplements that has thousands of 5-star reviews, maybe almost as many as my fabled Encyclopedia of Counseling. Now, you take the substance in question and you have the opposite reaction of those 2,548 people, or whatever the number is. Everybody else said it made them feel mellow. You ingested it and almost had a full-blown panic attack. Most users insisted it gave them calm energy, but you might be the 1 in 1,000 who tried it and fell asleep. Sometimes it boils down to a given dosage. While a little caffeine might energize you and improve your focus, a little more might make you jittery, anxious, and even provoke your essential tremor if you have it. Here's a quick story. I've told this many times, so I apologize if you've heard it before in one of my lectures. It occurred prior to my final exam. I think it was for my groups class, while I was studying for my master's in counseling. A classmate and I went to the student cafeteria to do a little last-minute studying. Before we could get started, I noticed they had my favorite brand of cupcakes. I made a beeline to the cashier to get a pack of 2 of them. Now, that was probably okay, but I returned again and again and yet again. Never ate that many of them before, and I was feeling invincible. I walked into the test with supreme confidence like I had never felt in my life. Then, about halfway through the exam, my sugar high left me high and dry, and I nearly fell asleep. My amateur self-diagnosis was that my massive cupcake eating session gave me a world-class blood sugar crash. Lesson learned. So again, I'm not telling you to go against the orders of your doctor or some expert, but whatever you try it well in advance of the exam if you can. Strategy 5. Look at a picture or photograph before the exam that makes you feel calm, gives you confidence, or both. With smartphones, this strategy has become a lot easier. And I probably don't have to say this, but use a little common sense here and personalize the technique to you and what is going on in your life. Let's say your favorite picture of all time is of your spouse or significant other. And imagine you just had the worst argument of your life in that relationship. Okay, then have a backup picture since your favorite picture could backfire. Now, if everything else fails that I've said so far, you should see a counselor you don't know personally for therapy, systematic desensitization, or biofeedback. If you are new to the field, you might not know that according to current statistics, anxiety is the number one issue that brings people to see a therapist. And in my humble opinion, counselors are very good, I mean quite adept, at helping people with anxiety. So, what in the world is that strange electronic device with the cool old school analog meters in the thumbnail? Well, it's a biofeedback device I acquired while attending biofeedback training at the Menninger Clinic many years ago. I was so enthused, I even wrote my scholarly paper for my master's degree on biofeedback. Biofeedback devices help clients to control their anxiety and can be very effective. There's no pain involved, and the meter does nothing to you. The new term, neurofeedback, states that when the feedback comes from the brain, we call it neurofeedback. But the meters shown here, and many like it, provide temperature feedback from the hand. Biofeedback is good. No, make that a great way to learn to control your own anxiety. And of course, you can buy more modern ones with digital outputs, and the prices come way down, okay? I see them on eBay. Strategy number 7. Before you see a therapist or even a biofeedback practitioner for yourself, my Master Lecture Series book has a complete chapter on test anxiety prevention strategies that work. And listen up, because this is really nice. The book has a complete guided imagery intended to help you bring down your anxiety and undesirable nervous feelings, and to bring the fear down to a desirable level. Thus, if you purchase my book as an audible book, you merely sit down in a comfortable place, and I will personally put you through a comprehensive, complete, creative visualization, guided imagery in the comfort of your own home, apartment, condo, or maybe even a park bench or a beach chair. Now, for some people, just a few slow, deep breaths in through their nose and a few deep breaths out of maybe 4 or 5 seconds will take away their anxiety. But again, some of you are going to need more. So try to employ these techniques and others from my book. So hit that like button, subscribe, and please, please, please let us know in the comments how you are dealing with your test anxiety. And hey, it's been great spending this time with you. Best luck on the exam, whatever that exam is. This is Dr. Howard Rosenthal.